The flames roared through the night, consuming everything in their path. It was 1970 in the quiet town of Nashville, Indiana. The fire was merciless, leaving behind nothing but ash and charred memories. When the smoke cleared, firefighters made a grisly discovery in the rubble of Clarence Roberts' property. A body lay burned beyond recognition. The townsfolk whispered in hushed tones, "Clarence. It had to be Clarence." The fire had started in his house, after all. Authorities believed they had found their man, a tragic victim of the blaze. They began the grim task of piecing together the puzzle of Clarence's demise. But something didn't quite add up. The body, though badly burned, didn't seem to match Clarence's physical description. Clarence was a tall, robust man. This body was smaller, slighter. Doubts began to surface, whispers of something amiss. Had the fire claimed Clarence Roberts, or had something else transpired on that fateful night? The mystery was just beginning. The official report declared the body in the fire to be that of Clarence Roberts. Case closed. But in Nashville, whispers of doubt began to circulate. Clarence's friends and neighbors couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. They talked amongst themselves, their conversations hushed but filled with suspicion. Clarence, they knew, was a man of habit. He always ordered the same meal at the local diner, a roast beef sandwich with extra gravy. He always wore his favorite straw hat, even on cloudy days, and he always paid his bills on time, every time. So why then, they wondered, was his wallet empty, found near the smoldering ruins of his home? The rumors started small, like embers in the wind. Some said Clarence had owed money to the wrong people. Others claimed he'd run off with another woman, seeking a fresh start. The townspeople were left with more questions than answers. Was Clarence Roberts truly dead, or had he vanished into thin air, leaving behind a trail of speculation and intrigue? The mystery of Clarence Roberts had begun to weave its spell. Years passed. The fire of 1970 faded into a tragic memory, a cautionary tale whispered around campfires. But the mystery of Clarence Roberts refused to die. Like a ghost story whispered in the dead of night, his name continued to surface, sending shivers down the spines of Nashville residents. Then, the impossible happened. People began to report seeing Clarence, a fleeting glimpse of a familiar face in a passing car, a tall figure in a straw hat disappearing around a corner. The sightings were always brief, always obscured, but they were persistent. Was Clarence Roberts truly alive? Had he faked his own death all those years ago? Or were these sightings merely wishful thinking, fueled by guilt and a collective desire for answers? The mystery deepened, pulling the town of Nashville back into its enigmatic embrace. The truth, it seemed, was a slippery thing, always just out of reach. 10 years had passed since the first fire. 10 years of whispers, rumors, and fleeting glimpses of a ghost. Then, on a night eerily similar to that fateful one a decade prior, tragedy struck again. Flames once more engulfed the property where Clarence Roberts' home had once stood, now rebuilt and occupied by new tenants. The fire of 1980 was even more devastating than the first. This time there was no question of mistaken identity. 2 bodies were pulled from the charred remains. One was quickly identified as Geneva Roberts, Clarence's widow, who had remarried after his supposed death. The other body was burned beyond recognition. Could it be him? Had Clarence Roberts returned, only to perish once more in the inferno? Section 5. Among the Ashes. The discovery of 2 bodies in the second fire sent shockwaves through Nashville. Speculation ran rampant. Had Clarence Roberts returned, only to meet a fiery end alongside his former wife? Or was this just a tragic coincidence, a cruel twist of fate that had ensnared innocent lives? Forensic technology in 1980 was not what it is today. Identifying the second body proved to be a challenge. Dental records were inconclusive, fingerprints were non-existent. The mystery deepened, sinking its teeth into the collective consciousness of the town. Was this the final chapter in the Clarence Roberts saga, a tragic end to a life shrouded in mystery? Or would the truth remain elusive, forever lost in the ashes? The people of Nashville grappled with these questions, haunted by the specter of a man who seemed to have vanished not once but twice. Section 6. The Man Who Vanished Twice. The mystery of Clarence Roberts is a tale of 2 disappearances, each more baffling than the last. Was he a desperate man driven to extreme measures by circumstances unknown? Or was he a cunning manipulator playing a deadly game of deception, Some believe Clarence Roberts orchestrated his own death in 1970. They point to possible financial troubles, a hidden motive to disappear and start anew. The empty wallet, the mismatched body, it all seemed to fit a narrative of carefully planned escape. But if that were true, why return to Nashville? Why risk being discovered after all these years? Others believe Clarence Roberts was a victim of foul play, caught in a web of deceit that ultimately claimed his life. Perhaps he had stumbled upon something he shouldn't have, crossed paths with individuals who would stop at nothing to protect their secrets. The second fire, the presence of his former wife, it all hinted at a darker, more sinister truth. Section 7. The Enigma of Clarence Roberts. The enigma of Clarence Roberts lies not only in the unanswered questions surrounding his death but also in the profound impact his story has had on those who knew him. For some, he was a friend, a neighbor, a man whose memory they cherished despite the mystery surrounding his fate. For others, he was a cautionary tale, a reminder that even in the smallest towns, darkness can lurk beneath the surface. Clarence's story serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of mystery. It forces us to confront the unknown, to grapple with the possibility that some questions may never be answered. In a world obsessed with certainty, Clarence Roberts stands as a testament to the enduring allure of the unexplained. Section 8. The Unanswered Questions. Today, the mystery of Clarence Roberts remains unsolved. The fires have long since been extinguished, the whispers faded into silence. But the questions linger. Did Clarence Roberts die in that first fire? Or did he orchestrate his own disappearance? If he lived, what drove him back to Nashville after all those years? And who died in his place that night in 1970? The answers, like pieces of a shattered mirror, remain scattered and incomplete. The truth, elusive and fragmented, continues to fascinate and frustrate in equal measure. Clarence Roberts, the man who died twice, lives on in the annals of unsolved mysteries, a haunting reminder that sometimes the past refuses to stay buried.